Now, the Bible says that he laid down his life for the church. That's what a man's supposed to do for his wife.
But we're not equal to Jesus.
Now, I'm just saying. He says in Ephesians, just as Christ laid down his life for the church, the man is supposed to lay down his life for his wife. He's supposed to love his wife the same as Christ loved the church. How did Christ love the church? He died for the church. So that really kind of knocks out the tyranny thing. You know, a tyrant is not going to die for its subject. But in Christianity, the leader, the head, will lay down his life for the one he rules over. And that's the whole difference, a whole different paradigm to what the world's going to have to show. And that's why I just totally disagree with this ugly thing that the world has, where man is the dominant and he's the force and he's going to push things. No, I got to be willing to lay down my life for my wife. And if I wanted to lay down my life for my wife, why wouldn't I at least listen to her and consider and not cater, but be concerned about her will and her needs and her desires, and put her in a very prominent place in my thoughts and my heart. Yeah, I gotta make a decision, but I should be willing to die for her, if necessary. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
From the world to authority and how God's thing. Jesus loved the church so much that he died for it. Yet it says he's the head of the church. Heads usually don't die for those that are underneath it. Right?
Yeah.
They protect themselves. They can die, but I'm not dying for them. But Jesus said, greater love has no man in this than a man lay down his life for his friends. And you're my friend. So that's what a man's supposed to do for his wife, by the way. He should be willing to die for his wife. And so everything that goes on in her life, you need to be considerate of that. Even though God's going to hold you responsible for the decisions of your home. You go on with the servant. Jesus before he died, took a basin of water and sat down and washed his disciples' feet. That was a job of a slave, of a servant. And Jesus sat down and took off his robe. He washed their feet. Son of God washed man's feet. And he says, do thou likewise. Be that kind of servant. Be that kind of person to people around you, your humanity. There's no room for all this craziness that goes on that the world tries to push on you, this women's lib and my rights and I'm above you and you do as I say. All that's nonsense. All that's totally nonsense. No, we're supposed to submit to one another. We're supposed to love each other. We're supposed to lay down our life for one another. That's the way, that's the gospel. And Jesus not only spoke it, not only taught it on a writing on a chalkboard, Jesus lived it and did it when he hung on a tree and shed his life's blood for us, who would shake our fist in his face and tell him anything we want to say to him. He still laid down his life while we were yet sinners, the Bible said. That's the kind of love. That's the love of God. That's the pure love of God. And that's the way he wants that love between a husband and wife and the children. That kind of love in the home. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Does this make sense to anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's not a matter of being a tyrant or a dictator or a heavy oversight. Man, in fact, it's more of a responsibility that I have to my wife. I got to be willing to love her enough to listen to her, to consider her, and if necessary, lay down my life for her. But ultimately, I'm going to be responsible for the direction that my family goes into. It's not going to be her. It's going to be me. God's going to hold me accountable for the direction of my family and the way it went. Yeah, because I'm under Christ. And if I'm listening to him, it'll go in a good way. But if I'm not, I can do whatever I want to do. And it may not go so well. Enough of all that. Okay, enough of all that.